All right, guys, it's time for the UCC Truck update. I believe this is update number 3. So in this build, we got a couple major areas of the build going on. As you remember, I blew this thing clear up in August, and we've had a lot of work trying to get this thing back to a drivable condition. One area of focus is obviously building the engine. We're actually doing 2 engines. That's gonna be a future episode. So the engines are being built. In addition to getting this thing back together the way we had it before, we wanted to put on a big diet. Before, I had this truck right at 6,000 pounds, which was the minimum weight I could run in the class that I raced this in before UCC was even a thing. Now that class no longer exists, and UCC has a much lower weight limit than this truck sits at. So we've been putting this thing on a major diet. So what I'm going to do now is bring in a couple of the shop guys out here who've been helping us work on this truck. If you're out there building a race truck, there's a lot of weight that you can take off of this, and they have been taking it off, so they're going to know exactly what it is. So let's get these guys out here so they can help us figure out how we have gotten the weight off this truck. All right, so this is our guy Josh. You haven't met Josh yet, but chances are if you're on Instagram, you've talked with him or been trolled by him. His Instagram handle is justapump12v. He has multiple accounts that are troll accounts to stir the pot, so he's a professional pot stirrer.
Sometimes you just got to question the status quo, Todd.
Sometimes.
Like
your outfit.
Yeah. This is how you cut metal out of trucks. That way, no shrapnel going through your chest. Still get home to your mom so I can go live in the basement. Works great. Works great.
All right, so what's the story with this, honestly? You got this awesome outfit. What's going on?
So I actually just purchased the dirt bike on Sunday, and since I haven't been on one in like 14 years, I decided to get all the gear. That way I don't die.
And it showed up today.
It did. It showed up this morning.
We actually have a little dirt bike club here at Power Gym and Diesel. I'm not sure about you, but I've talked to a lot of people who actually got their start in performance on dirt bikes. I think 3/4 of our shop here started riding dirt bikes. We should do something like dirt bike dyno shootout. I'd like to think about that. If you guys want to see some dirt bikes on our dyno, let us know and we'll make that happen. But anyway, he's been spending a lot of hours here at night, and he has been doing a ton of awesome work, and he has been on Diet Central. How much weight have we lost? What do you think? It's your guess. I know we haven't really weighed a lot, but you got a pretty good guess, don't you?
If you take into account the glass and everything else, I'd say 200 to 250 pounds at least, and that's probably pretty conservative. If I had to guess, I'd say probably we're hoping to be around 300 pounds total, but I would say 250 is probably a pretty good conservative number on what we were able to save.
That's a lot. We may change up our turbo systems to drop a lot of weight there too for the drag race portion of the event. So I'm hoping to be down about 800 pounds overall when we're all said and done for the drag race portion. We'll get
getting on the treadmill too, or
yes, I'm on a serious diet. A lot of it's coming right here. Okay, I got about a month and a half. It's
perfect.
There's not gonna be much there, honestly. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I want to show the bedsides. Our bedsides are kind of unique in this because, well, let's go back here and I'll show you, and then we'll talk about it back here. So we've spent a lot of time on these bedsides right here. These things have been a big pain for us at UCC. One thing that we do is kind of unique, as you may know, is we put in this gigantic axle in the rear end with dual cuts on both sides, 4 huge tires on this truck, and installing that in the pits overnight has proven problematic. So what have we done here to fix this? What have you done here to make it better?
Well, Todd really wanted to stay with the steel bedsides instead of the fiberglass, so we had to figure out how to make a really flimsy bedside mount and unbolt, so that way we don't have to jack the truck up to bring the axle underneath it. So what we had to do was cut off the original frame, which was all welded to the bedside. You could not remove it without using the cutoff wheel. So we cut it all off, and then basically had to start making triangles with the metal that was provided and make it bolted. So there's 8 bolts on each side. You'll see maybe one down there and one up here, and there's 2 right next to Todd, a couple more back there. And basically it holds the shape of the sheet metal bedside. Because it was only one layer, it took quite a while and quite a few attempts to get it straight. That was the other thing, was we wanted it to look good and have function. And then another thing that we wanted was to make everything lighter, a little more compact, is the battery tray, which is down here. We made that actually fit Todd's new Go Lithium batteries. We chopped up the original one, reused it. We got rid of the really large metal back piece back here that held the parachute and the battery mount originally, and made his parachute mount a little bit safer, stronger, hopefully, and gave it a little bit of an angle so that way when he does throw the chutes, because he went 200 miles an hour, it doesn't drag on the ground and it actually slows him down. And then the other thing we had was the shock mount right here. This cross member had been tweaked, bent quite a few times different ways. So we started over and made a new one that fits nice and tight again. So that way he's ready to set the world on fire with the 12 valve this year.
Heck yeah. The reality is that night, after the dyno session, before sled pull, that whole night we pull an all-nighter. We swap front axles out and rear axles out. This should save us hours, literally hours that night. So I'm really excited to be able to pop these bed sides right off, slide that new axle in, put it back together. It's going to look awesome. So that's what we've done. There's a lot of time to get this thing to look right, like get the lines right, get the bed look so it doesn't look just wrong. I mean, he's done a super job. I'm really happy with this. And we spent a lot of time inside the cab too. So before that, so how much weight did we save here in just this bed alone?
So from the old bedsides to the new bedside mounts, making them removable, we were able to still save 11 pounds off of the original. And I like to think that this is probably a little sturdier than the old ones.
Yeah, those we were breaking. We lean on them, they'd break. It was terrible.
I mean, I'm a Husky 12 valve owner, so I don't know if I could sit on them, but I could put my kids on here probably. Pretty nice.
Yeah. Let's head inside now so we can see what weight savings we've done inside the cab, because I've actually been pretty surprised how much we've cut out of there. All right, so this is Meyer. You might remember him from his awesome truck. We did the turbo manifold blanket test with his truck.
Yes.
Picked up a lot of spool, and he could cook pancakes from under his hood with his plug-in. It was awesome. He's got the plug-in under his hood. It was a real hit. Anyway, he's been in here crawling around, finding metal, and taking a bunch of weight out of this truck. Mm-hmm. So tell me, where have you taken it out? For guys wanting to make a race truck, what in the cab can easily come out with a little bit of work?
The main big panels are the one that goes in the bottom here, then there's one along the back there, midway up, and then one across the top. Those were the big ones that were really easy. We were also cutting out the doors, and and obviously these doors here.
How much weight do you think of just taking out those pieces of metal you saved? Guess.
I'm gonna say between all of it, easy 20-30 pounds, quite a bit more.
Yeah, that's so cool about that is literally you don't need it in a race truck. Street truck, okay, it's a big deal. If you have a street truck, not a good idea. If you're building a dedicated race truck, there's a lot of weight inside this cab that you can really pull out. Mm-hmm. And so tell us about the transmission tunnel.
Well, Josh went to town on the... Gosh darn it. I don't know why I'm pulling up.
Don't cut any of this, by the way.
No, it's getting cut, Brian. We're friends. Remember this.
All right. Okay. So tell me about the transmission tunnel and what we did to it and why.
Well, what Josh wanted to do is he wanted to have it so, when you're at the races and you can't put the truck on the lift and we need to pull the transmission, you can get it at the top of the transmission to get all the bolts out really easy because, you have 30 minutes to swap a transmission. You want to be able to make it as efficient as possible. So they got the whole thing cut out and it's all bolted in place. So a couple bolts, the whole transmission tunnel comes out and you can get the whole transmission pretty easily.
So literally, if we hurt something between rounds of UCC, we've got this set up so we can swap a transmission between rounds and not miss the call for our next elimination round. And hopefully we do real well at the drag race this year. And so this is not a special piece of metal. This is literally the stock piece. We just cut it out.
He cut it out and then put an inner flange, welded it to the body part, and so that way it just all bolts down straight to where it was.
Cool. And so now it's going to be super fast. 6 bolts, she's out. And then you can get all those high bolts on your transmission, which are just a pain in the butt to get, and it'll make it super fast. So it's going to be really cool. So that's going to wrap up this video of the truck as it sits so far. The next thing you're going to see in this truck, for one, we're going to do that engines reveal, whatever you want to call it, engine series. We're going to have a video on the engine build. It's amazing. We've done a lot of cool stuff. I'm really excited to show you guys what we've done over there. Next time you actually see the truck, that engine should be in here. Transmission should be in here, and we got to redo everything. When I blew that truck up, I blew it up for real. So we got to redo all the plumbing, the turbo system. We're going to rewire the whole truck, a new data logger system because I ripped all the cords of all the sensors. So a new data logger system's going in. And so a lot of work to do as far as the plumbing and wiring. But the truck's really coming together. We'll put the windows in soon. And next time you see this, it should look a lot different. So anyway, stay tuned for episode 4. Yeah, thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you soon. Thanks.